Betting odds of a national strategic Bitcoin reserve soared to new all-time highs on the news that Bitcoin Senator Cynthia Lummis was named chair of the Senate Banking Committee on Digital Assets. Plus, Donald Trump doubles down on making America the crypto capital of the world and is reportedly chatting with OG Bitcoin president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, this afternoon. And BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says that if this happens, Bitcoin will soar to $700,000 per coin. This and even more proof why Bitcoin is way undervalued right now. Early this morning, the Bitcoin price gapped up over 4% after Senator Cynthia Lummis posted this tease. Big things are coming. Notice the B in big is a Bitcoin symbol. And then she said, stay tuned for 10 a.m. This had the market understandably deciphering this meant that the US Strategic Bitcoin Reserve announcement was imminent, which caused the price to gap up very quickly from 102K to around 106K. Well, the announcement came and it was not a US Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, but it was still very bullish. Senator Cynthia Lummis, who authored the famed Bitcoin bill, which outlines the U.S. Treasury buying 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years, was named chair of the Senate Banking Committee on Digital Assets. She posted the announcement along with the following statement: "Digital assets are the future. And if the United States wants to remain a global leader in financial innovation, Congress needs to urgently pass bipartisan legislation establishing a comprehensive legal framework for digital assets that strengthens the US dollar with a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I am humbled my colleagues have placed their trust in me to chair this historic subcommittee, and I look forward to shepherding bipartisan legislation to President Trump's desk this year that secures our financial future." So it wasn't the SBR, but Lummis is now in a position to lead a bipartisan effort to establish an SBR. Odds that Trump will create a national Bitcoin reserve in 2025 soared to a new all-time high of 68% on betting platform Polymarket shortly after the announcement. Now, what I find most interesting about this announcement and Bitcoin's price reaction is that it reminds me of around this time last year when Cointelegraph posted the fake spot Bitcoin ETF approval, causing a pump that quickly retraced when it came out as fake. Once the ETF was officially announced days later, the market realized it was underexposed, and the price continued to go on a massive run, eventually nearly doubling over the following few months. The fact that the price jumped on an announcement that looked like the SBR tells me that the market is similarly underexposed. And if we do get an SBR at some point, I think the market will react with a large prolonged pump once again. And as world leaders gathered in Davos this week, Donald Trump gave a remote address where he doubled down on his plans to make America the world capital of AI and crypto.
I declared a national energy emergency, and it's so important, national energy emergency to unlock the liquid gold under our feet and pave the way for rapid approvals of new energy infrastructure. The United States has the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we're going to use it. Not only will this reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services, it'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto.
Now, for those that point out he said crypto and not Bitcoin specifically, know that he was talking about it in terms of energy infrastructure and dominance. Which crypto was the only one underpinned by the largest computer network in the world in terms of energy harnessed? That's Bitcoin. Also from Davos, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink talked with Bloomberg and tech CEO Peng Zhao in what was supposed to be a talk about AI infrastructure, but Fink can't stop talking about Bitcoin, so the conversation naturally veered in that direction.
As I became a student of crypto, it was very clear to me that crypto is a currency of fear. And that's okay.
To some extent.
Yeah, but that's okay. Because if you're frightened of your debasement of your currency, or you're frightened of your economic or political stability of your country, you could have an internationally based instrument called Bitcoin that will overcome those local fears. And so I'm a big believer in the utilization of that as an instrument. And so if that becomes true, and you see that it could be a proper hedge against maybe hope security or equities.
Yeah.
The question is, could you see a 2 or 5% allocation? I was with a sovereign wealth fund during this week, and that was the conversation. Should we have a 2% allocation? Should we have a 5% allocation? If everybody adopted that conversation, it would be 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 per Bitcoin.
Now, the one point I will disagree with Fink on is that Bitcoin is a currency of fear. He said this before, and he frames it as if we're all frightened of the debasement of our currency. We're not afraid of it, Larry. It's a true and current reality that we all face. I love how Seb Bunny, author of the excellent book The Hidden Cost of Money, puts it in this post. When money doesn't hold value, families suffer. Parents work longer hours just to cover the basics, leaving less time for connection. The hidden cost of inflation isn't just financial, it's the relationship strained by a system that prioritizes consumption over community. People aren't turning to Bitcoin because they're scared, Larry. We're turning to Bitcoin because it's the only hope to fix our money and stop the widespread debasement of our labor and our time through corruption and greed. But I digress. The more interesting point that Larry makes is the hypothetical analogy he draws about a large sovereign wealth fund debating whether to put 2 or 5% of their portfolio in Bitcoin. This is the current state of large institutions just starting to dip their toes into Bitcoin. As Larry says, once everyone starts adopting that conversation and has at least 1% of their portfolio in Bitcoin, which is where the trend is headed, that's when Bitcoin approaches the market cap of gold and rises towards $1 million per coin. So the imminence of nation-states stacking Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset and the large institutions and corporations implementing a 2 to 5% allocation to Bitcoin is exactly why this thing is still so profoundly undervalued at 100K. And if you're still unconvinced, check out this short clip of Lynn Alden talking about why she's still very bullish on Bitcoin at these levels.
So the combination of ongoing fiscal dominance is pretty good for Bitcoin. Anything that could reduce liquidity, so tariffs, a dollar spike, that's around the margins negative for Bitcoin. So I would expect probably some of those events happen this year. They're probably not sustained for very long. Kind of negative liquidity is not really, it's hard to sustain for long periods of time given how levered the system is. The policy mix is probably neutral to bullish for Bitcoin. And then when I look at certain on-chain things, like really basic stuff like market value relative to cost basis, or the HODL wave, like what percentage of coins haven't moved in a year and how many of them sold into the bull market, because bull markets are characterized by the market value getting way ahead of the cost basis and are characterized by some of the older coins that are up 5, 10, 20x selling into the new buyers. So I look at those types of indicators to see, are we stretched here? And both of those still look kind of mid-cycle. Now, cycle structure could change, so there's no guarantee, but most signs to me still point up. 12 months, anything can happen, but if I say 12, 18, 24 months, I'm still pretty bullish on Bitcoin at these levels.
So don't fade Bitcoin at these prices as overvalued. You would be making the same mistake that countless people have made over the last 15 years. Get some exposure and maybe set up a recurring buy plan with services like Swan. Visit swan.com or download the app by searching Swan Bitcoin in the App Store. Have you been looking at Bitcoin and getting frustrated with your financial advisor's lack of knowledge? Then Swan Private might be for you. The Swan Private team helps high net worth individuals, family offices, businesses, and trusts understand Bitcoin and capture its significant upside. From retirement accounts and tax loss harvesting to inheritance and estate planning, Swan Private helps you take control of your financial future. Visit swan.com/private and meet with a member of the team today. And a quick shout out to Mara, the largest publicly traded Bitcoin miner, for supporting this show and for helping making Bitcoin the world's most decentralized and secure monetary network. That's it for today. Let me know what you think of the chances of the SBR in the comments below. Like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to the channel for more high signal Bitcoin content. Thanks for watching, and remember, TikTok next block.